So when it comes to this encoder, when you have the 7, you have all three. You want to see all three ones on the output. So if you have, and the priority is the highest bit, the highest number. So if we were to send a signal to all of these, and 7 is like, so 7 is included, no matter what, it'll show all ones on here, because if you just look at 7, it's already all ones no matter what. But let's say we go to 6. So if we go to 6, if you want us to display a 6, and 6 is the highest input given out of all, like let's say we have an input of every input except for 7. So if we have every input except for 7, we want to show a 6. So to ensure that it stays to be a 6, the only thing that can be interfered with a 6 is this last digit of a 0. So now we need to go all the way to all the numbers above that'll have ones that'll interfere with this digit. So let's say all these are on. So none of them can affect the first two ons because they're already on. So we look at 5, 3, and 1. So in order to ensure that those are turned off when this is on, we need to put an inverter coming from the 6. So when the 6 is on, it sends a signal that is off, and then now we AND that with the corresponding 5, 3, and 1 in order to make sure that there's no signal coming in those inputs to affect the last digit or the 6. In order so that it doesn't so if we, for example, if we had an input coming from here and from here, and we didn't have this, you would see a 7 displayed because it would just turn on all three lights on the end right here. So we need to put an inverter from 6 going on to 5, 3, and 1. And then we go to the next digit, and then we see that this middle digit is the only one that could be affected if 5 is the highest number. So what we do is we go up, and then you just see 3 and 2, and then you do the same thing where you just put an inverter, and then inverter goes up with 3, and then you do it for 2, 2. You go up to 4, you look at the ones that would affect 4, so it'd be all 3 of these. When you go for 3, none of them can affect on the top, above it, because none of them affect the only 0 digit. And then you go to this one, the only one that can affect it is number 1, so then you do an inverter and it with it, and that's all you need to do for the priority encoder.